What is up, everybody? I thought I would share with you guys the quick come up of my $45 trip to the thrift store. In my hands, I hold the Retro Jordan 5. A lot of people call them the Mistake 5's or the Broke Man 5's. Personally, I think they're a fire colorway. Is there a lot of red? Yes. At the end of the day, they're still fire kicks and they still sell for quite a bit, even if they're offhand and used. So I spent 45 bucks on these. Yes, they need some cleaning, some deep cleaning and restoration. So my plan, of course, is to kind of restore the uppers, get some of this dirt and grime off the toes and overall suede, really kind of breathe some new life into these J's, and hopefully sell them for a quick profit. So I have to restore the uppers, re-ice the soles, and as you can see, they're not super yellowed, but they definitely are gonna need some new life brought into them. And the harsh reality of icing soles while we're on this point, you guys have to realize when you ice a sole, it's not gonna happen in one application or one day. It can take numerous sessions and numerous days to get the ice out of the sole. So be prepared for that. Anyways, I'm excited to get working on these and to clean the uppers and do a full restoration on these bad boys and resell. So I'll go ahead and walk you through my process and what I do, and I'm excited for you guys to see the end result. Let's go. So step one, of course, is to go ahead and remove the shoelaces from the shoe. Once those laces have been removed, you want to go ahead and pick up a Suede and Nubuck cleaning kit. It'll come with an eraser. Along with that eraser, it'll come with a nice brass brush. And I also recommend using the cardboard cutouts from any of your old shoes to place into the shoe. That way it's going to give it a lot more firmness when you clean. Go ahead and take the eraser first, scrub any dark or greasy areas with the eraser, and it should rub that grime and grit right out of the shoe. Next, we'll kind of come in with the brass brush, but you have to make sure you're really soft with the brush and try to go one direction to prevent any damage to your shoe. You'll go ahead and continue that process until you're satisfied. Now that you've taken that time to clean it out with the Suede Nubuck kit, you should expect to have results like this. Naturally, I'm a perfectionist. I scrubbed the crap out of these shoes and I'm super satisfied with how the cleanup came. Now that the shoes are clean, go ahead and grab your favorite shoe cleaner. I wish I had Rejuvenator, it's on the list to get, but for now, you gotta do what you gotta do. I went ahead and soaked my laces in hot water with the mixture, allowed that to sit while I cleaned the uppers. Now when you're cleaning the uppers, don't be afraid of the water being on the suede. A little bit later down the line, we're gonna go ahead and dry it pretty good. Next, with the shoelaces, after they've been soaking in that water for the past 30 minutes or so, you want to squeeze all that water out of there and just scrub vigorously through your hands. That's going to loosen up all the dirt and grime or stains that may have built up on the shoelaces. Once that's been done, go ahead and grab out a heat gun or an air dryer. Really utilize whatever you have at your house. I just use a hair dryer and it seems to do the trick. Now that the shoes have been deep cleaned and dried, this is what the results should look like. Once again, I can't emphasize enough, do not be too rough on the cleaning process, as suede is a material that's pretty sensitive. But I went ahead and got a lot of that dirt and grime out of it, so we can go ahead and start the next step. Also, if you want crispy laces, I highly recommend ironing them. Although it seems weird, it definitely works. All right, guys, so I spent the last little bit cleaning this shoe, really scrubbing out all the dirt and grime that you guys saw in this shoe in the first place. So here's what it looks like after scrubbing it. Probably still has to dry a little bit. I tried to speed up the process with just a hair dryer. Seems to do a pretty good job. But the next step is to tape off these eyelets, the front mesh, this mesh, and of course the midsole. And then the way I'm gonna bring back this red upper to life, it's pretty simple. I went to Michael's, the craft store, and they have this red fabric spray, and I've used it in the past on other shoes and other items such as fabric. It's washable. Really, it goes the whole 9 yards. And I know a lot of people will use the Angelus dyes. This is gonna be just as effective. However, it's gonna allow me just to spray on my coats, and then it's gonna make my job a lot easier. This stuff definitely works wonders. But take a look at these shoes. So they're nice and clean. Earlier there was a lot of dirt in that toe box. I've gotten a lot of that dirt out. Naturally I'm a perfectionist, so I spent a lot of time just cleaning these uppers, ensuring that the suede is gonna really be really clean under that coat, so I can ensure that these shoes are gonna get a nice even coat of fabric dye. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taping these up and start that process for you guys. Now I liked using the Scotch tape because in the hard to reach areas such as the netting and the eyelets, it just seemed to do the trick. Masking tape, of course, for the midsoles, and the toothpicks really acted as my X-Acto blade for the netting and the eyelets when I had to cut out the Scotch tape. It worked like a charm. Now really ensure that you take your time and get these eyelets taped up properly to prevent any leakage. So shoe 1 of 2 is finally wrapped up. I did the masking tape on the midsole. For the upper eyelets, I went ahead and did the Scotch gift wrapping tape. It just seemed to adhere to the plastic a lot better than the masking tape. Especially when I'm gonna be using this stuff. The last thing I wanna have happen is to have any leakage get onto the eyelets to ruin the original look of it. And I just used a printer paper to kind of cover the tongue. Went ahead and applied the masking tape on the upper here to kind of protect that black. So the key with any spray type dye or fabric spray paint is to do really light coats and not saturate it too much. So I'll probably apply anywhere from 3 to 6 coats depending, very light coats, and then kind of go from there. And that's gonna go ahead and restore this suede and give it that brand new look. It's gonna look sick. A tip I would give you is you need to let your shoe dry for a full 72 hours. Once you kind of let it dry, you can kind of come back in and clean the entire upper again with that same method with the soap and water, and that's really going to kind of soften the shoe up. Bear in mind it's a material, so it's going to have to really soak into this suede and upper to really get that full dye effect. But I figured I'd go ahead and kind of start removing some of the coverings here, kind of show you guys what to expect once you dye your shoe. So let's go ahead and start peeling some of this stuff off. Let me just take a look. Oh, and then the other thing I was gonna tell you guys, I kind of got a little bit on the bottom of the shoe. I'm not super worried about it just because once I ice the sole, I'm gonna have to go ahead and get ammonia or nail polish remover and rub it all over the bottom of this to ensure it's super clean. So if you get a little bit of runoff on the base of the shoe, don't worry, just get some nail polish remover or paint, not paint thinner. If you just get nail polish remover and kind of rub it on there really softly, that should come right off. Now comes the fun part, which is icing the sole. So like I said earlier in the video, icing soles is going to require multiple sessions, whether it's indoor versus outdoor. My method is indoor with a UV light setup that I have. So here's the shoe. It's nice and clean. Once again though, as you guys see the soles, they're in dire need of re-icing with some sole sauce. So what I do is I tape up all the areas because I don't want to risk getting any on my shoes, especially when I let the sauce sit under the UV light. So what I do, I tape up everywhere around the sole. As you guys can kind of see, I have it taped up everywhere that it could drip. So this stuff's gonna get iced and be brought back to life. A couple other important things that I recommend using. The sauce essentially is this Salon Care 50. You can pick this up at Sally's for $5 to $6. Works wonders. Also, you're gonna need this, which is acetone. It's gonna allow you to clean out the dirt and gunk in the sole. Super crucial to make sure the stuff is getting a good coat on a very clean surface. Cotton balls can help. I also forgot to grab Q-tips, but I'll go ahead and show you guys how I kind of clean the base and how we start icing the soles. So a couple things you're gonna need to ice your soles. First is the sauce, AKA 50 volume cream, a paintbrush, saran wrap with the built-in side cutter, masking tape of course, and of course some gloves to keep the sauce from getting on your hands. Now if you guys noticed, I did a pretty good tape job on the shoe. The biggest thing you want to prevent is getting any of this sauce on any of the bottom of the sole that is not the sole itself, and really anywhere on the side of the shoe. I personally don't want to take any chances of getting any of this stuff on the uppers, the midsole, or of course the suede. Suede is such a delicate fabric that it's hard enough to clean and maintain. The last thing you want to do is have some sole sauce get onto that bad boy, and then you're SOL. When you apply the saran wrap, you want to make sure to put some good pressure on the bottom of the shoe, really allowing for that saran wrap to not only kind of suction cup everything that's in place, but really to kind of keep that sauce nice and moist when you're baking it in your indoor setup or outside. My setup, believe it or not, I actually went to Petco. I got these two lights, I used a fish tank, and I lined that bad boy with foil, and it seems to work for me. You're gonna wanna find bulbs that are UV specialized. I've learned that the reptile bulbs are gonna work, not only because it provides the UVA rays that the sun actually emits, but that's really what your soles are gonna need if you wanna ice them properly. You can also buy these little lamps there. I'd recommend getting 2 of those. So my session, I went from June 17th to the 18th, and I did just under 24 hours, and these are the results I got after a couple sessions, which I'm pretty impressed with. Of course, they can only get icier and icier the longer you go and the more sessions you do. Overall, I was super pumped with this restoration. This is the final product. Honestly, they look freaking brand new, and I'm pumped with how it came out. There you have it, guys. Thanks again so much for watching this video. If you guys are new here, please feel free to smash that like button and feel free to subscribe to the channel. These shoes definitely needed a new breath of life brought into them. I felt like I did that. The soles could be a little bit more icy. That was done with 2 sessions. I know if you would up the ante and keep going and do multiple sessions, you can definitely get more ice out of them. These shoes are actually gonna go to my wife. She saw me working on these shoes and she fell in love with them, and how do you say no to your wife? So although I'm gonna miss out on the profit on these shoes that I had lined up, I really wanted to give my wife these pair of Jordans. She only has a pair of ones that are mids, so hopefully by me giving her these, she can kind of get into the sneaker culture. Till the next one, guys. Peace.